Okay, let's dive right in. There's a sort of quiet crisis unfolding in the world of nonprofits and civil society. We're seeing legacy organizations losing an entire generation of young people. And this isn't just some small problem. For a lot of these groups, it's a full-blown existential threat.
So let's break this down. First up, we really need to get a handle on the scale of the problem, because what we're looking at here is a deep, structural divide that is seriously putting the future of these organizations at risk.
And wow, the numbers really do paint a stark picture. Take the peace organization Servas, for example. A whopping 60% of its members are over the age of 60. Only 15% are under 40. And here's the thing, this isn't just their problem, this is a huge alarm bell ringing for the entire sector. When your whole base is aging out with nobody coming up behind them, you're basically facing a slow-motion collapse. So, of course, this leads us to the two big questions. Why is this chasm opening up between generations? And maybe more importantly, what can actually be done about it? Well, the rest of this explainer is going to be dedicated to answering exactly that. To even begin to find a solution, we first have to really understand the why. And let's be clear, this isn't about youth apathy. Not at all. It's about a fundamental shift in what young people expect from organizations. The old rules of engagement, they simply don't apply anymore. This new generation, they want to be co-designers, not just passive volunteers. They expect online engagement to be easy, frictionless. They tend to reject rigid top-down structures in favor of flatter hierarchies where everyone actually has a voice. And they're not just interested in raising awareness, they demand tangible, measurable impact. They want to build professional skills while they're doing social good. And look, this isn't just a hunch or a theory. The data backs it up completely. Global reports from huge players like the World Economic Forum, UNICEF, and others, they all point to the same conclusions. Trust in traditional NGOs is falling. Get this, only 5% of young people are active volunteers, and they cite things like a lack of time and, more tellingly, an inability to find an organization that really fits them. The message here is crystal clear. The old models are broken. So how does all this play out in the real world? Let's zoom back in on Servas, that organization we mentioned with the aging demographic. They're facing this exact challenge head-on and are really trying to engineer a major turnaround.
And this quote just brilliantly illustrates the heart of the problem. These are the words of Servas's own founder, Bob Weiler. He warned that the organization had lost its way, that it had drifted from a powerful peace mission into something that just felt transactional. And that loss of a compelling narrative, it's absolutely devastating when you're trying to inspire young idealists.
So now we can really start to connect the dots. We can take those big picture trends we just talked about, what young people actually want, and see exactly how they played out inside this one organization, creating a massive disconnect. So here's the diagnosis. First, the membership just felt passive. It was a hosting network, sure, but where was the shared mission? Second, there was no democratic agency. Decisions were made in a closed loop, which is totally at odds with a generation raised on participatory digital platforms. And finally, that missing narrative we just saw meant there was no big, inspiring vision for anyone to rally around.
But, identifying the problem is only half the battle. Now we get to the exciting part, the solution. Servas actually developed what they call a white paper. It's a detailed, actionable blueprint for a complete structural overhaul, all designed to bridge this generational gap. The plan represents a pretty radical shift. You can see it here, moving away from a model that was bureaucratic, passive, and exclusive. The new way is designed from the ground up to be frictionless, purposeful, and deeply democratic. This isn't just a tweak, it's a total reinvention. The first pillar of this change is something called the seeker membership. This is brilliant because it solves that huge entry barrier problem. Instead of having to navigate some complex local chapter, a young person anywhere in the world can just join directly online. For a generation used to instant access, this is an absolute game changer. And they're not just hoping for the best here. They've set a very concrete, measurable goal. Engage at least 5,555 new young seekers by the year 2031. This is what creates real accountability. It turns a vague wish into a core strategic objective. Next up, the Peace Builders program. This directly addresses that need for purpose. It's a 100-hour curriculum in real skills like conflict transformation. This move transforms Servas from just a simple travel network into a platform for meaningful, skill-building experiences that can even offer you real credentials. And again, a clear metric is attached to this. The goal is to certify over 200 of these Peace Builder educators by 2031. And here's the really smart part. Those educators then go on to train other people, creating this powerful multiplier effect and building a whole network of young leaders right from the ground up.
Finally, there's the Servas Agora. This is the fix for that democratic exclusion problem. It's a digital-first platform where any member, anywhere in the world, can participate in governance. It removes all those geographic and financial barriers that kept young people out of the conversation and aligns the organization with how this generation already builds community online.
So, after looking at the global trends and the specific case study, what's the universal lesson here? What should every single organization be thinking about right now? Well, it really all boils down to this. The burden of adaptation isn't on young people. It's on the organizations. You cannot ask a new generation to conform to outdated analog structures. You have to evolve. You have to become more digital, more democratic, and more purposeful to meet them where they are.
And that leaves all of us with a final and pretty challenging question. Take a hard look at your own organization or your own community. Is it actively building a bridge to the future, or is it slowly becoming a museum of the past? The choice, it seems, is up to all of us.